When first logging into the Contact Center Pro platform, there's a few key metrics that you can visualize or customize on the essential dashboard that you first see when logging into the platform. Now, this custom dashboard that I have created here has some color-coded graphs here at the top, just indicating how many interactions are currently in queue, how many agents are handling inbound or outbound interactions, how many agents do I have that's actually available or not ready to take interactions, and all of this information can be viewed from this single pane of glass or single dashboard here. Now with these dashboards, they can be customized. So if you are a supervisor on the platform and you may want to see specific metrics regarding your specific teams or queues, you can go in and actually customize and build out specifically which dashboards or views you would like to build out when logging into the contact center to view here. Now, once the dashboards are actually created and finalized, you can open these in a new window just to have all of that information on one single pane of glass, or even potentially cast it on another TV or monitor that you may have inside of the office as well. Now, coming back to the dashboard here, if I needed to monitor my agents, that can be done just directly from this same dashboard, just by selecting this eyeball icon, which would allow us to complete a silent monitor. It will allow us to whisper to the agent. Maybe it's a coaching opportunity at that point. Or I can barge into the conversation and start speaking to both the client and the agent at that time. Now, outside of the supervisor dashboard, the next thing that I wanted to cover is going to be the agent experience. Now, within the agent experience or soft phone, first and foremost, the agent can manage their status or availability here in the top right-hand side. So if I wanted to go on break or specify which pause reason that I'm currently going to utilize so I'm not receiving interactions coming into queue, agents can select that here. Or, most importantly, once they actually ready up and log into the agent experience or dashboard here, that's when they can start receiving interactions coming into queue. So the agent's now receiving a phone call. And from here, the agent has full access or visibility into the customer's journey with the contact center. So every single time that they have called into the contact center, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, whether it's a web chat, an SMS message, all of that information or conversation history is going to be stored and memorialized here within inside of the contact center agent experience. So agents can then view past notes or even dispositions on past interactions for this customer. Now, if an agent needs to transfer this phone call, they can transfer it to another direct user on the platform. They can transfer it to another queue or even an external destination. Now, when transferring, we can specify a language or competency or skill that we want to queue this call to. And the agent also has full visibility into how many other agents or users are available to take this call in the event that I were to transfer. Now, when going to actually transfer it, I can do a blind transfer, a hold and consult, or even a conference. Now from here, agents could also manage the contact's opt-out. They can pause and resume the recording if needed, or they can even schedule a follow-up. So the agent themselves can specify a date and time that our organization needs to follow up with this customer, and we can follow up with them in the contact center via a phone call, an email, or even an SMS message. I could also specify which queue that follow-up needs to route to. I can route it to the first available agent if I want to handle that schedule follow-up, or if the agent wants to handle that schedule follow-up themselves, they can route it back to themselves, or they can route it to a specific agent that's on the platform here. Lastly, before scheduling that scheduled follow-up, I could also leave any comments or notes, so the agent that may be routed the scheduled follow-up just has a little bit better understanding on why we're actually following up with that customer in the first place. Now, once you actually hang up this call, The agent then has the ability to select a disposition, to disposition that specific interaction, and they could also leave notes. Now, other channels and interactions that come into the contact center are going to be routed to the agent in a very similar fashion. So as long as the agent is available and may have the correct competency or skill, an email or an SMS or a chat would then be routed to the agent here. In this case, this is going to be an email. And you can see, again, full conversation history that we have had with this contact with our contact center. Now at this point, the agent can then go ahead and respond. They could also forward the interaction maybe to another agent. And once completed, they can go ahead and close that interaction out and get ready for the new channel or interaction coming into queue. So the next thing that I wanted to cover is going to be the administration side of the contact center here. Simply starting with the administration section here, menus and greetings can be easily configured and modified with inside of the contact center solution here. Starting first with the greeting, we do support text-to-speech, or if you wanted to upload a WAV file for a live greeting, you can upload that to the platform. And for the menu options that are going to be heard by the customers calling in, those could easily be configured here. And the actual queues that we're going to route to can be specified within the menu itself as well. Not only can we specify a queue that we need to route to, we can highlight or specify a competency for that option, or even a specific language that this option may be tied to. Now, once we actually queue the phone call, there's lots of different functionality that we can actually configure on the queue itself. Starting first with the screen pops. So if you need to screen pop maybe a scripting page or script for the agents, maybe screen pop to a CRM, ERP, those different applications or methods can be configured here within inside of the screen pop section. And we also have the ability to configure dispositions and wrap up time for the agents, announcements in queue for the callers, maybe announcing their position in queue or their estimated wait time in queue, and even presenting them some in-queue announcements so they can hear while they're actually waiting for their interaction or their call to be answered here. We can configure things such as callback settings, utilizing callback takeover, or even an abandoned callback. And then lastly, on the queue settings that I wanted to mention is going to be the post-call surveys. So if you want to present the post-call survey to callers after they actually finish up a phone call with the contact center or with the agent, this can be prompted to them automatically, which they can then go and leave the survey responses, which the reporting would then go ahead and provide that information to the supervisors or management users there. Now within the administration tab, we also have access to all of the channels that we can support as well. Facebook, Google, Instagram, email, chat, SMS, WhatsApp, all of these different channels that you see here on the screen can be easily configured and easily turned up inside of the contact center to then start receiving those interactions from customers, resulting in a true omni-channel experience, which is important not only from a business perspective, but also from a customer's perspective as well. So what I want to cover next is going to be the quality management or QM functionality within inside of the contact center, which is going to be housed in the same admin portal that supervisors or admin may be used to using on a day in and day out basis. Starting first with the forms. Now, as a supervisor, the questions can be totally customizable by the contact center, and you could also specify the question type. So do we want this question to be a free text, a multi or single select, maybe a numerical scale, or even a yes or no question? Now, depending on the question answer that the supervisor specifies for that interaction, we can then award the agent points for that question, and we could also make these questions tiered. Meaning, if the supervisor answers a question with a specific value. In this case, did the agent obtain the prospect's contact details? If the agent did in fact obtain the prospect's contact details and we answer that question with a yes or award the agent 50 points, we can then prompt the supervisor with an additional question that he can then go and answer for the agent as well. Now, once the form is created, that's when we can begin managing our list. Now, within the list, this is going to allow you to specify how often do you want to load interactions into the list. So how often do you want to start reviewing or scoring these interactions regarding your agents? Would you like to upload the interactions per agent or even a percentage of all of the interactions on the contact center? In this case, we're just uploading 5 interactions per agent, but we could also specify it down to teams, to queues, to channels, or even forms that we have created here. Now, once you have the list created, that's when interactions will start populating in these different lists for supervisors or managers to go and actually score those interactions or conversations that agents may have had. Such as this interaction. If I wanted to go and score this call for my agent, I can select the scorecard that I actually want to use. And notice the call recording is actually going to be on one side of the screen, and then you have your scorecard here on the right. So if we need to listen in to that phone call or listen to that phone call while we're actually scoring that interaction for the agent, I can select that there, and then I have the recording here on the left-hand side, which I can go in and start answering my questions as a supervisor here. Now, once the scorecard is all filled out and the supervisor is complete, I can go ahead and save and submit this evaluation, which will then be sent to the agent so they can go and review the valuable feedback that they're receiving from supervisors or management on the contact center. So next thing that I wanted to cover inside of the contact center is going to be reporting. Now, the reports inside of the contact center can get very, very extensive. And there's a few different ways that we break up the reports. First is going to be real-time by user and real-time by contacts. Again, this is really just going to give you full insights and real-time visibility into what is currently going on inside of the contact center. How many interactions do you currently have in queue? How many agents do you currently have available to handle these interactions coming into queue? But then we also have reports based off the historical data on the platform or historical interactions. We have reports specifically on the ACD user, showing them the specific volumes of the interactions that that agent is receiving. We could also highlight how long it's actually taking them to handle interactions into the contact center. So this is going to give you powerful metrics such as longest handle time or average handle time. What's the agent's average talk time? And you also have some information or reports based on the state of that user. So how often are they logged into the platform, or are they going on break for an obscene amount of time there? But then we have historical contacts. And this is solely going to be revolved around the interactions that are coming into queue. Detailed history is going to show every interaction that took place inside of the contact center. But then you have information on the queue volume and the queue events. So how many interactions came in the queue? Specifically, how long did it take us to handle those interactions that came in the queue? So what's our average queue time or average talk time or average handle time from an entire queue perspective? Now, there's tons of more reports that we have to provide inside of the reporting section or reporting module here. But we also have the ability to create custom reports using the report designer. And you can create custom reports based off of the user or the contacts. And this is going to allow supervisors or managers to specify which metrics or columns that they want to view inside of that report. They could also roll it up by queue or by date or even by channel. They could also roll it up or specify queues that they want to view, specific teams that they may want to view, or even users on the platform. So outside of the pre-canned reports that we have to offer, supervisors or managers have full control on utilizing the report designer here to go in and create specific custom metrics that them themselves are interested in viewing for their specific agents or their contact center queues as a whole.